Today I'll be showing you how to start up the A-10 in DCS A-10C Wathog. So we'll jump right in, and the first thing we need to do is turn on the battery power, which is located on the right hand side panel here. We then need to turn on the APU, which is located on the left hand side, near the throttle. Now that's beginning to turn on. We'll turn on some other things. So over on the right hand side we've got a green switch, which is the oxygen. We'll turn this on, and these two switches underneath the underneath the keyboard. Now we need to wait for this APU, which is shown here, to reach a max RPM, which is obviously 100%. And once that does, we can then turn on the APU gen. So we'll turn on the APU gen and the inverter, the AC gen, and the left and right AC gens. Now we'll turn on the yaw and pitch SASs, which are located here. So these four switches in a line, we'll turn them all on. Turn on the radios, which are these three switches here, and right click them all once so they're in their center. Next thing we need to do is turn on the CICU, which is located here, the JTRS, and the IFFCC. The IFFCC will go into a test mode. We then click enter on the HUD. What we'll do now is we'll close our canopy using left control and C, and the canopy will begin to close. We'll turn on our MFCDs by left clicking them both once in the left hand corner, and they'll come on. Now what we'll do is we'll start up our left engine. So in order to do this, we need to first turn on these pumps, and then we need to hit the key command left alt and home. This will turn on the left throttle to idle, and then the engine will begin spinning up, as you can see outside. The next thing we need to do is load all our information onto the aircraft. So we click load all, and this will begin to load everything from the data cartridge. If we have countermeasures on the aircraft and we're flying in a combat zone, we might want to turn our countermeasures on now. We'll just turn them on to standby. Now this warning is an APU gen warning, because now the power is being generated by the generators for the engines. So we've turned off this switch in order to cancel that out. The pre-flight bit is also completed, so we go down to the IFFCC button and turn that on fully. We're nearly done with starting up the aircraft. The next thing we need to do is turn on our right engine. So we can see the left engine here is at 60% RPM. We can turn on the right engine by hitting right control and home. This will begin spooling up the right engine, and we'll put this right hand throttle to idle. Right, on the right hand MFCD we'll put this to CDU so we can see our nav status. The nav, represented by the T equals, is at 2.2, 4.8. We want the number to get to 4.0, 0.8. When it does so, this will flash INS nav ready, and it will flash, and that indicates that the nav is finished. Then we will click the nav button, but not until then we will click it. So now what we need to do is we need to arm the ejector seat, which is found just next to the throttles, and turn on anti-skid, which is found over to the left above the landing gear warning lights. We'll put this to TAD, so we have our map screen up, and then we'll wait for the nav, and I'll come back when the nav is finished. Now the nav's finished, we need to turn it on. So we'll turn on the nav just by clicking this OSB next to the nav, and then the nav will be engaged. We just need to turn on the GCAS and the EAC. The GCAS will turn on when the EAC is on, so we first need to flick the EGI button just behind the flight stick. It's this button here next to the sideways flicky switch. The next thing we need to do is engage the EAC and the radar, the proximity radar, which is just behind the throttle. We'll engage both those switches, and then the aircraft should be started up. From here you can taxi, but just remember before you taxi to click insert in order to engage the wheel steering. Otherwise you'll plant into the grass and you'll not have a very nice day after starting up your A-10. I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching and good luck.